Very welcome back to Unstable TV. So we're checking out Mr. Briggs and Briggs-alicious, the world according to Senor Briggs. But before we get into that, if this is your first time on the channel, do not forget to
like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell, and if you're back with us again, thank you.
So what are we reacting on today, Danielle?
So today, James, we were asked to check out 100 places you need to visit before you die, and this is the United States travel.
So we're looking forward to checking out this smelting pot with you guys. So let's learn this together. Let's go.
Just a quick disclaimer, because this is a really long video, we're going to do this in 2 parts. So this is going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be 100 to like 50.
Yeah.
And then the next one's going to be 50 to 1.
So just be ready. This is part 1 you're on, and part 2 will be coming. We'll leave it up in the cards for part 2 when it's due.
Do you have a bucket list? I've had several in my life. A life experience bucket list, a career bucket list, and a travel bucket list. I focus on the travel one these days more than any of them. Actually, I threw one of them out. The one I made when I was 16, I got rid of it when I was like 20. I opened it up one day, started reading through it, and I'm all, why did I ever make this? 12 of the 15 items on here include the word cheerleaders. I thought it was a little creepy, so I threw that one out and never looked back. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs and our list of 100 things to do or see in the US before you die. That's right, we're doing a list of 100. It's a long list, it's over 30 minutes, and it's going to be a little faster paced than normal, or we'd be sitting here for like 2 hours. This list has 100 of the best things to see or visit in the United States. I've always been a little surprised that people don't realize what an amazing tourist destination the United States actually is. With this list, I hope to spark some interest in some of these places. We're coming out of the pandemic, and this summer might be a great time to go see some things. As you watch the video, count how many places you've actually been to or visited, and then in the comment section, let us know what your final count was. Have you seen 10 of them? Have you seen 4 of them? Have you seen 50 of them? Let us know, and maybe even include what one was your favorite. Okay, this is a long video, so let's get going with 100 places in the United States you should see before you die.
Let's go.
Number 100, Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks in California. The Sequoia National Park is America's second oldest national park and was established on September 25th, 1890. Kings Canyon was established in 1940. The 2 parks are side by side east of Fresno. 99, the Grand Canyon. It's a majestic 277-mile long canyon with the Colorado River flowing right through the center of it.
That looks amazing.
Yeah. Got some sights there.
That'd be incredible.
Devil's Tower National Monument in Wyoming. This stands 1,267 feet tall, and it's located in the northwest corner of the Black Hills. It's actually declared a monument by Teddy Roosevelt.
A lot of people on the internet actually think that that's a tree.
Oh yeah, that was like a big theory going around, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bit of useless information for everybody there.
Yeah. So, if you think it's a tree, Briggs has cleared that up here. It is not a tree.
Exactly, it's not. It's a monument.
Yeah.
97. Pearl Harbor's National Memorial in Hawaii. Everybody knows we were attacked by the Japanese during World War II, and it was one of the worst attacks this nation has ever seen. You could still see oil oozing from the engine rooms of the sunken ships. 96. The San Diego Zoo. It is home to 3,700 animals and more than 650 species.
Is there
I've
a
been
polar
here
bear?
like 4 times in my life. It's a great zoo. 95. The International Spy Museum, Washington, D.C.
Of course, it's in Washington.
Exactly what it's called. A spy museum. Very interesting. 94. Williamsburg, Virginia. It's colonial capital of Virginia and internationally known for its restoration activities and recreations of 18th century America.
That'd be cool as well. That'd be a good thing to see.
Nice in Victoria.
93. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum in Cleveland. I will be there this summer. This place opened on September 2nd, 1995. 92. Biscayne National Park, Florida. This is one of the least crowded sites managed by the National Park Service. It covers a total of 172,000 acres, and 95% of the park is underwater.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
It's good, but
91, Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming. This
Yellowstone
is one of our best national parks. Been here 2 or 3 times in my life. One I kind of just drove through, but 2 times I actually visited. It's amazing. Go there, see the geysers, see the buffalo. Your life will never be the same.
That'd be phenomenal, Kelsey.
Oh, yeah.
That's on our bucket list.
Briggs has been everywhere so far. You'd bring me on a virtual tour now.
That looks incredible though.
Yeah. Good splash on it.
90. The Winchester Mystery House, San Jose, California. This is a weird place. It's worth reading about, but it's better to go see.
Go to the Winchester and wait for all this to blow over.
89. The Wright Brothers National Memorial, North Carolina. This is a monument dedicated to the Wright brothers and their first flight. Everyone thinks it was at Kitty Hawk. It was actually down the road a bit at Kill Devil's Hill, not Kitty Hawk. This is the first federal park to have a permanent public structure. The monument was built in 1932. Wow. 88. The Plymouth Plantation, Massachusetts. This is where those first band of English people showed up. They called themselves Pilgrims, and they showed up on the Mayflower, and they landed at Plymouth Rock. It's pretty neat. They have a little village set up like it supposedly was back when the Pilgrims were here. I went there. I was young, but I remember going, this is a nice place to live. I wouldn't mind living here. It's kind of interesting. 87. Niagara Falls, New York. More than 8 million visitors explore Niagara Falls annually. A lot of people think this is just one big falls.
We were supposed to go there and then the pandemic hit and we couldn't.
Yeah, around our whole time. We were literally just in the offers we wanted, and we were going to book a trip there, and the pandemic was like, guess what? No, you're not. Everything shut down. Goodbye.
We weren't in New York though, we were in Toronto because that's where we were living. And then we had to come on. So that was fun. Thanks.
When you get there, you finally realize that it's actually 3 waterfalls. Niagara Falls just kind of refers to the whole area. There's Bridalveil Falls, Horseshoe Falls, and American Falls.
Ooh.
86. Thomas Edison's National Historical Park in New Jersey. The area includes dozens of buildings that supported Edison's research into electricity, photography, motion pictures, chemistry, and other things. 85. Boston Common. This is the oldest park in the U.S., existing since 1634. In the colonial days, it was actually a cow pasture and a British encampment for a while. But it didn't start becoming a park till 1830s when an iron fence was put up around it. 84. Mauna Kea, Hawaii. Mauna Kea is the best astronomical observation facility on Earth. The observatory is used for scientific research, and it's the largest facility of its kind. It's one of 6 volcanoes that form the Hawaiian Islands, and it's the tallest mountain on Earth. It's actually 3,600 feet taller than Mount Everest, but much of it's underwater. It's also about 1 million years old, and the last time it erupted was probably around 5,000 to 6,000 years ago. It's considered dormant now. 83. Hollywood, California. Hollywood, California is an illusion. It has a reputation, it has an aura, and it has a mystique. That's hard to find these days, but it's still there. You have the famous Hollywood sign, which kind of brings a lot of people in. You've got the Hollywood Walk of Fame, things like that. There's just a lot of nonsense that goes on around it, but if you actually study and learn where you want to go see things in Hollywood, famous mansions, things like that, it's very interesting, and it's really a good time. Just stay out of the tourist stuff.
Fair point.
82. Nashville, Tennessee. This is one of the cities you need to visit at least one time in your life. There's this vibe you get in Nashville that is very unique. Elvis Presley recorded more than 200 songs at RCA's Studio B. There's still a string of Christmas lights on display that were hung when Elvis couldn't get into the spirit to record a Christmas album. Apparently they were trying to record it in like August, and you know, no one's really got the Christmas feel in August, so I could see where the lights came in. 81. The Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island, New York Harbor. The Statue of Liberty was gifted to the U.S. by France in 1886. And it's...
I was there, but I didn't go on to Ellis Island. I got the boat trip around it. So that still counts, still seeing it.
83 meters tall. The same man that built the Eiffel Tower built the structure. His name was Gustav Eiffel. And it is one of the most photographed statues on the planet.
There you go.
Number 80, the Brooklyn Bridge. Not too far away from the Statue of Liberty, you have the Brooklyn Bridge. This is iconic. It was officially opened on May 24th, 1883. The Brooklyn Bridge was the world's first steel wire suspension bridge, and the first things to cross it were roosters. They sent them across to make sure it was okay. I don't think roosters were the best plan. Maybe some
That's a very cocky thing to do.
Horses or something like that that are a little heavier, but they sent roosters. 79, staying in New York, the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, New York City. This opened on April 13th, 1870, and it's amazing. There's a lot of history in this building. The museum is the home to the world's oldest surviving piano, dating back to 1720. Even if it's not your type of thing, definitely go by and see this.
That's the key to the
Golden
attraction.
Gate Bridge, San Francisco. If you've never seen this thing in person, I would suggest it. It is amazing. It was completed in 1937 and it's 1.7 miles long. Originally, it was supposed to be painted blue with yellow stripes to increase visibility for ships and things like that. But when the steel arrived, it was kind of this burnt red color from the primer, and the architects decided that color was fine and they just kind of stuck with it. In 1937, it cost 50 cents each way to cross the bridge, roughly the equivalent of about $18 today. It took over 30 years to remove the lead paint from the bridge. Yeah, so back when they realized lead paint was really bad, they had to strip the bridge, and it took 30 frickin' years.
That is a long time.
77, Kennedy Space Center, Florida. This facility's primary function is the NASA's base of operation when it comes to rockets and launching things for pre- and post-launch. Most famously, it was the launching point for the Apollo moon missions and for the space shuttle most of the time. Its secondary function is for public education with its exhibits, displays, and history of spaceflight and travel. 76, Everglades National Park. The Everglades National Park is home to one of the largest wetlands in the world. It has plant and animal species not found anywhere else on the planet. It was established on December 6, 1947, and it is home to an exotic population of animals: alligators, manatees, hawksbill turtles, water moccasins, coral snakes, the list goes on. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in the Everglades. 75, the Monterey Bay Aquarium, California. I love this place. One of my favorite aquariums. It opened on October 20th, 1984. The first time I was there was a year later, 1985, and it was amazing then, and it has done nothing but get better. They have a 1,000,000-gallon open sea exhibit that holds yellowfin tuna, large green sea turtles, barracuda sharks, and giant ocean sunfish. 74, Monument Valley, Arizona and Utah. You go see this one, you got two states to choose from. This place is known for its cluster of vast sandstone buttes, the largest reaching 300 meters, about 1,000 feet above the valley floor. This valley's been in so many movies, TV shows, and in print, it's just ridiculous. Any Western from the 1950s seems to have found their way to this. It was neat. 73, Carlsbad Cavern National Park, New Mexico. It covers a total area of 46,000 acres, and there are 117 known caves in the park. The big room, as they call it in Carlsbad, is an 8.2-acre cave. There are 17 species of bats you can see here. 72, Canyon de Chelly National Monument, Arizona. For around 5,000 years, people have made their home in these sandstone canyons. They're often referred to as just one Canyon de Chelly, but there's actually several canyons here. Families do still live here. That's why access is limited, and visitors are required to have a guided tour in most areas of this national monument. It's very interesting. 71, Mount Rushmore National Monument, South Dakota. Mount Rushmore isn't the only thing to see in South Dakota, but it is by far the most popular. Mount Rushmore was named after New York attorney Charles E. Rushmore, who had visited the area in 1885. While on the visit, he asked a guide what the name of the peak was. The guide's all, well, we don't have a name for it. It's just an unnamed peak. So they named it Rushmore after him. He later donated $5,000 to help get the Mount Rushmore project started. 90% of the carvings were actually done by dynamite. It wasn't like a guy out there with a hammer and chisel. 70, Crater Lake National Park, Oregon. This one is amazing to see. It's one of those places, if you just sit there and look at it for a while, you'll just, I don't know, it's a weird feeling looking at this thing. If you know the backstory to it and how it was created, it's even more amazing. First of all, it's the deepest lake in America. It's actually 1,943 feet deep. The lake's water comes directly from snow or rain, whichever happens, which we get a lot here in Oregon, and there's no inlets for the lake. There's no like little creeks going to it or anything like that. This is a mountain that had its top blown off in a volcanic eruption. The story begins with the volcanic eruption. It was so serious that scientists estimate it was 42 times more powerful than the Mount St. Helens eruption in 1980. But so it turned this giant mountain into pretty much a cup, and water and snow just accumulate in this cup, and we have a lake. It's pretty interesting. Number 69, a Mississippi River cruise. The Mississippi River is long enough for you to take a cruise on. It's actually the third longest river in the world at 2,350 miles. The cruise industry has broken this off into 3 sections. Each section takes about a week to cruise, or you can knock them all out in one big 3-week trip. And it's worth it. 68. Mackinac Island, Michigan. Mackinac Island is a summer resort island in Lake Huron. It's right between the Upper Peninsula and Lower Peninsula of Michigan. This is a great place to visit in the summer. Winters can be sketchy at best. It gets pretty cold there. 67. The Corn Palace, South Dakota. Yeah, that's a real thing, the Corn Palace. I don't get the attraction. I mean, it holds big dances, proms, graduations, things like that, meetings, whatever, stage shows. It's just kind of strange, but a lot of people really like this place. They go to it. I've made fun of it before on my channel, and people always correct me and say what a neat place it is. I gotta visit, but a lot of people do. That's why it's on the list. 66. Gettysburg National Military Park, Pennsylvania. Gettysburg is the most famous battle of the Civil War. Thousands of Union and Confederate soldiers clashed on some really hot July days in 1863. The park includes over 6,000 acres of land, 1,300 monuments, 400 cannons, and 140 historic buildings. Everyone knows about Gettysburg, and if you're a history buff, you already know this is one of the must-see places on your history bucket list. 65. Martin Luther King's National Historical Park, Atlanta. This is the hometown of the late Martin Luther King. The 10-block area around Auburn Avenue is one of the city's most visited sites, showing where he was born, lived, worked, and the church where his father, grandfather, and him were all ministers. 64. Black Heritage Trail, Boston. Usually whenever you hear anything about Black Heritage Trails or anti-slavery movements, it's something to do with the South, you know, the Underground Railroad, something like that. But Boston had an anti-slavery movement that was very important to this country. 63. Puako Petroglyph Archaeological Preserve, Hawaii. This one's on the Big Island, and it's pretty impressive. They have over 3,000 ancient petroglyphs that are carved into the lava rock. The true meaning behind all these carvings is unknown, but generally it's believed that they were to announce the birth of someone important whenever they carved a new petroglyph in these lava rocks. 62. Coney Island, New York City. Coney Island started off as a seaside resort in 1824. At some point it started turning into an amusement park, but not just one amusement park. There's people that own different parts of it, and it's just this big thing. Anyway, it's home to the famous Cyclone roller coaster, and it's been in too many movies to count. 61. The Franklin Institute, Philadelphia. The Franklin Institute in Philadelphia pays homage to the city's native son, Benjamin Franklin, one of the greatest Americans of all time. It was first opened in 1824. 60. The Alamo, San Antonio. Everybody knows, but in case you don't, the Alamo was the site of the battle that took place during Texas' bid for independence from Mexico. All defenders were killed, but within 6 weeks, Santa Anna, president of Mexico, was captured, and he basically signed over Texas to save his own life. The original Alamo was actually burned to the ground in April of 1836, but was rebuilt in 1854. Number 59. Victoria Clipper Ship, Seattle. You can ride this high-speed catamaran from Seattle to Victoria, British Columbia in 3 hours. It's obviously because the pandemic been docked for a couple months now, but it's a pretty fun trip. Actually, any ferry you get in the Seattle, Puget Sound area is a good trip. 58. The National Air and Space Museum, Washington, D.C. This is the world's largest aviation and space museum. It is also the most visited museum in the country, with more than 8 million visitors every single year. It was opened on July 1st, 1976. You could see the Enola Gay bomber who dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, also Charles Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis, and the Wright brothers flyer. 57. Daytona Beach, Florida. Daytona Beach runs for 23 miles on the Florida coast. It is known as the World Center for Racing, and it's also known as the world's most famous beach since the 1920s. They used to actually race NASCAR on the beach. This is way back in the day, but they still did it. Cars are still allowed on the beach, but it's pretty slow. You gotta go like walking speed almost. 56. Alaska Marine Highway. This is basically a ferry system that currently extends across like 3,500 miles of scenic coastline, and it connects 30 different communities. It started 1948 through 1962. They kept adding things onto it. 55. Dinosaur Valley, Texas. This opened up in 1972. In 1909, George Adams, a young man, found strange three-toed tracks in the limestone bed of a river. Turns out these were dinosaur tracks left in the mud. Well, the mud turned to rock, and now you got these really cool footprints all over the place. It's actually quite impressive. 54. Lincoln Heritage Trail, Kentucky. Abraham Lincoln lived in Kentucky for the first 7 years of his life, and this has kind of stuck with the state for some time now. On display is a replica of the tiny cabin where he was born, among other things. 53. The Kentucky Derby. Everybody knows what the Kentucky Derby is, and it's quite a party. The race is nice too, but most people go for the party. The fastest winner was Secretariat in 1973. 52. The Fort Worth Stockyards, Texas. Everybody knows where Fort Worth is. It's just west of Dallas. It's part of the Dallas metro area. Fort Worth became a boomtown in the 1890s because it had the Southwest's biggest livestock market. Because of this, it also got the nickname Cowtown. 51. White Mountain National Forest, New Hampshire, and it's also in Maine. This is one of the most beautiful forests this country has to offer. I mean, Maine and New Hampshire, they just got beautiful landscapes. This area was heavily logged back in the 1800s, and they've made a recovery since then. It was established in 1914 when they acquired 7,000 acres for $13. Today, it has an area of almost 800,000 acres in New Hampshire and western Maine. 50. Ashteek Island, Maryland. This island is best known for its herd of wild horses, its pristine beaches, and it's got a really cool lighthouse. It's 37-mile-long barrier island located on the eastern coast of the Delmarva Peninsula facing the Atlantic Ocean. The island was originally going to be made into a private resort in the 1960s, but it all came to a screeching halt when the locals were a little angry about this. The people kind of shot this idea down.
So that is part one. Thank you for that tour, Briggs. I have not heard of a lot of places on that list of you.
No, I haven't, but thank you all the same. The Coney Island, though, the Warriors. That's the movie you should have mentioned, Briggs. Like, come on, that should have been up there.
It should have been.
With the famous Warriors come out to play. But sure, look, we'll get you next time. My whole thing we're doing these lists, reacting on Briggs stuff is, you should really be trying to look out how many places has Briggs been to.
Exactly.
And he's actually going to places after they only opened the year. Like, I think he has some type of insider information we all don't know. So, of course, let us know your thoughts so far in the comments down below, and we will see you all on part 2.